Observe Memorial Day. One way is by placing flags or flowers on the graves of our fallen heroes. Another is by flying the U.S. flag from half-staff until noon. Fly your flag with pride this Memorial Day and save 50% at Rucksack. Rucksack Military Surplus has small flags and regular-size polyester flags at 50% off through Memorial Day. Rucksack Military Surplus asking you to pause at 3 p.m. this Memorial Day for the national moment of remembrance to honor those who've paid the ultimate price of freedom.
Home cooking means different things to different people. To most North Georgians, home cooking either means Mama's Secret Recipe or Longstreet Cafe. And for your next banquet or gathering, you can have that delicious food brought to your doorstep. That's right, Longstreet Cafe will cater your next event with its delicious fresh meats, vegetables, and desserts. Your guests will think you have Mama tied up in the kitchen. Call Longstreet Cafe today at 770-534-7010. Longstreet Cafe, where they put the home in home cooking.
When I was in the 4th Division of 22nd Infantry in World War II. I was in the infantry. I went in the Army in 1940. And I was in 10 different Army camps, trained different things. Then went overseas and landed in England and stayed there 6 months. And from there we went to France, landed on D-Day. And then from there, we just fought from town to town. Martyrsburg and Cherbourg and St. Lo was the first big battle we run into. We taken it, they taken it back, and we taken it again. We got mixed up. The Germans and the Americans was going the same way in the same convoy at night. And at night, we had to stand back to back, keeping somebody slipping up on us. We had fought on up the line a piece, and they sent a bunch of young boys in to relieve us. Just kids, 18, 20 years old. So we just stayed where we were, and these boys went on through in, I guess, 3 or 4 days fighting while they found a liquor still, I think, and got run over. And we had to take it up then and fight back. It was in the summertime, it was hot. Gain back what we'd lost, and there we got pinned down. I lay there 2 nights and 1 day between 2 soldiers. It was already decaying. I believe we moved back into Luxembourg towards the end of the war, and that's when the Battle of the Bulge come through. And we stayed on the river there with the Germans on one side and us on the other, to keep them out of Luxembourg. If it ever got across the river into Luxembourg, there wouldn't have been no way to stop us. Walking across through the woods one evening and met J.C. Hooper. He was coming off at the front and I was going back. And there was just a lot of little things that would happen along the way that comes to mind every once in a while. It's got to where they bother me at night a lot. I lose sleep over it. When we wasn't cooking for the boys, we had all ammunition and water and stuff like that. And whatever come up, whether the cooks we got it into a battle one day, and the cooks and everything, and it could shoot a gun got into that one. So I don't thank the Lord for bringing me back home. That's one thing I want to forget, because, boy, it was, some days I thought my head and feet was in my helmet. It gets so rough.
Mac Abbott, in the Marine Corps, they classified me as a water engineer. I wrote a book on this subject called Fired the First and Last Shots of World War II. I was involved in each of the campaigns. Being involved in them, it was fairly easy for me because I had real good training in the Marine Corps. There's a lot to say about Pearl Harbor. They were supposed to know about Pearl Harbor before it happened, but Churchill, who knew that it was going to happen, got the code JN25, which told him in this code that they were going to attack Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941 at 8 o'clock. I was in my room when all of a sudden this plane came by real fast, right by my window, and I saw that it was Japanese. So I got my rifle and went down on the playground out in the front and started firing at the Japanese planes as they came over. And we had been told that if you just fire at the pilot, you'll get the whole plane because there's no armament where the pilot is. And so that's what I did. And the Navy gave me credits for shooting down 3 of the 29 planes shot down that morning. I had no particular feelings other than to take advantage of what I did have to be able to shoot down those Japanese planes when I did. Memorial Day means a lot to me. It means it's something about our country that it's at a particular time. And happy Memorial Day.
Today, in what is a wonderful new Gainesville tradition, thousands from Gainesville and all over North Georgia will join with Americans everywhere to commemorate and honor our great nation's fallen soldiers. Today, we remember the courageous individuals who have stepped up in every generation to keep our country safe. Especially on this Memorial Day, I want to honor the Navy SEAL Team 6 for their bravery in facing the most wanted man in the world. The death of Osama bin Laden is yet another reminder of the diligence and skill of our armed forces. Military service always entails sacrifice, but today we think especially of those who paid the ultimate price for our freedom and safety, and to free other peoples around the world from tyranny. With ongoing combat for much of America's recent history, the memories are fresh for many Georgians, and I want to acknowledge those who have lost loved ones, neighbors, and friends. As we pay tribute to them today, know that we are also honoring your sacrifice. Patriotism is a virtue that we Georgians live by, and today, on this Memorial Day, we are exercising that sentiment as we honor those who serve and those who died in that service to our great nation.
How about kids and veterans? Look at that. That's a great shot. A parent, a veteran there in the middle, 2 children at his feet. That's a great shot to start off the parade here today.
It certainly is, and it certainly brings it back around full circle as we were talking, because without folks like this gentleman that's pictured here, right, who fight for us every day and guard our freedoms, these children couldn't be free to be playing here on the sidewalk, getting ready for what is going to be a big, big parade coming through. And, you know, we were talking about everybody that's involved with this, but we have so many floats and so many units, and we're glad that the Shriners are back with us again this year. We appreciate their participation, and as we mentioned, we do appreciate the participation of TV18, making it possible again for us to be on the air, not only on TV18 but also at WDUN TV via AccessNorthGA.com. Special thanks also to Rucksack Military Surplus, Longstreet Cafe, and American Legion Post number 7 for making this broadcast possible. And I'm telling you, this is perfect. We waited a whole year. It's been 2 years since we've actually been able to get out here and do this like this. It's been worth the wait, though.
It really has been. And we think back to the rain last year. You're right, Bill, it makes this a more inviting and anticipated event for us here today. Speaking of Longstreet Cafe, I must mention something that they're doing today. They have the location on Terrace, right, Riverside Terrace, and also Pearl Nicks Parkway. If you're a veteran, you eat free today. They're going to do that until 2 o'clock this afternoon. What a great salute to veterans. veterans from Longstreet Cafe. And, of course, for all your flag flying needs and those kind of things, Rucksack Military Surplus, they're there 52 weeks a year.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of those flags came from Rucksack that were saying, look at these folks. They have, and I love this, the participation each year. They plan their wardrobe. They make sure they have their flags out. They have their chairs, and the kids, they're just waving and having a big time. There is an excited young man.
He's wearing red, white, and blue shorts there, it looks like, as well.
He is ready to go there, and it's just amazing to see the entire community. And
there you go. That's a good shot.
Yeah, let's get a shot of those. All right. It's great to see the community come out any time during the year, but especially when we're doing something as important as Memorial Day. But what a great group of folks out here. It's just amazing to see these streets lined, and there they are, anticipating, as we are, the beginning of the parade, which actually, I believe, has probably stepped off at this point, but it'll take a little while for it to get to where we are.
Well, let's recognize, as Cheryl did a few moments ago, some people that were very instrumental in this, and you couldn't do this without the city of Gainesville. And, even in budget crunch times, Bill, they've been able to work around budgetary matters. A lot of people are volunteering time from the city of Gainesville to come out and make sure that the roads are sealed off and there's protection and there's safety, and Public Works goes into a lot of detail in making sure things work and putting some of the barricades out. So we do want to thank them, the city of Gainesville, doing a wonderful job. How about First Baptist Church Green Street and the Gainesville Civic Center? Without those two entities across the street from each other, wouldn't be much of a staging area, huh?
No, it'd be a little difficult. They have to stage in our parking lot. It's not quite big enough to hold all the units. We actually have some 87 or so units that are registered in the parade today. Now, realize that some of these units are comprised of many people. For example, my friends in the Corvette Car Club, they're going to have 10 entries. Of course, the Shriners, who will be coming toward the end of the parade, they're going to have 10,000, I think, something. I mean, it's just an incredible number. So a lot of folks that are participating in this parade, and they're coming from all over, not just from here in the Gainesville area, but our Shriners come from the entire area.
What do you think about the parade? We've seen all these people gather. The balance between being able to celebrate and then have the seriousness of Memorial Day. You think the parade is a really good vehicle to do that?
I really do. I really think it's. I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of times when people talk about Memorial Day, as you know, they refer to it as the start of summer, and it's a time to go out and cook out and to have fun with family and friends. And I think there's a place for that, certainly. But there's no place for that without having an opportunity to remember why we're doing Memorial Day and the importance of that. And I think you're right with the parade, because we will see veterans come through. We will have some solemn moments as they come through. And we will also have some very festive moments, because life is both remembering and celebrating. And I hope we use this as a celebration for those who paid the ultimate price.
The shot we just saw before we drew back and got the longer view, there was a gentleman there in a black shirt, black Army T-shirt, has a black lettered in gold veteran's cap. When I pulled up today, Bill, I saw him, and I don't know if it was a grandson or a great-grandson, but he was about knee-high on this tall former veteran. And the veteran taking very small steps. Don't know if that was an injury or just age or what that might be, but that little boy carrying the chair is walking right there with him. I thought that was a great shot of what this is all about, from the older generation to the younger generation, celebrating our country in a way that you really can't otherwise.
I agree 100%. And oh my goodness, look, we are getting underway with the 9th Annual Memorial Day Parade, brought to you by the Paul E. Boulding American Legion Post 7 in Gainesville. We have been waiting actually 2 years to see this site, as we were rained out last year, but we're going to forget about the rain last year. It was great to have the rain, but here we are with green grass, trees in bloom, and we have our parade underway.
Well, our sheet says the Gainesville City Motorcycle Brigade will lead that off, and you may not be able to see it on screen right yet, but I see a couple of bicyclists out there, and they do a great job in our community as well. The Gainesville City Police Department. The Police Department Honor Guard is comprised of 11 full-time sworn police officers, and we'll see some of those here in a few moments. The Honor Guard participates in several events throughout each year, and that includes parades such as today, sporting events, and memorial services. And presenting our nation's colors, the Gainesville Police Department Honor Guard, and we see them, our first entry in today's Memorial Day Parade.
Don't they look sharp? Look at them. I mean, just beautiful dress uniforms, and of course, in my opinion, 3 of the most beautiful colors on the planet, red, white, and blue. Our nation's colors, our state flag, just absolutely gorgeous. And just behind them, and we're going to get a closer look here in just a minute, is, of course, our Grand Marshal in today's parade. Of course, that is Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle and his wife, Nita. We appreciate them being part of it as well.
A lot of entries in today's parade, and this is the first of many to come. As you mentioned a few moments ago, we've got 90 listed, could be an additional that, and that does not count. And you mentioned a Corvette Club, but the Old Friends Car Club, they've got about 50 entries if you counted each of those. Yep. then you're up to about 200 or 150 at least in this parade. But Gainesville City Police and the Honor Guard, as they march down Green Street, about right in front of the post office at this vantage point. There's one of the bicycle police officers, and they do a great job in community patrols and patrols such as this today.
Yeah, community policing is a very important part of what they do, and it's a chance for them to get out in the communities and really build relationships. Because, when you and I were kids growing up, we were always told, respect the officer. If you ever need anything, never hesitate to ask a police officer. Somehow along the line, that got derailed. I'm glad we're getting back to that because they are here to protect and serve, and they're supposed to be our friends.
And people begin to rise. They remove their hats as the colors are presented for today's parade. And we'll give a moment for the colors to pass by our viewing stand here. Well, the parade continues, and there is this year's Grand Marshal, Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle. You mentioned his wife, Nita, and that beautiful, and this is the way it was termed from our good friends at Moss Robertson Cadillac, a Boss Hog Cadillac.
It is that, my friends. It is that. I wonder if it has the pig whistle on it. But right there, I love that Moss Robertson Cadillac. I don't know that that's a new one he's got in stock, but, boy, I'd like to have it because it's a sharp-looking vehicle.
Yeah, it's in the neighborhood of like a 67 to 70 or something along those lines. That is a beautiful vehicle, and there is the Lieutenant Governor and his wife.
I want to tell you, when you take a look at these cars, we're going to see some of these classic cars. It also brings back a great patriotic thing, our ability to manufacture. We have such good manufacturing in this country, and that's something else that we should be proud of. Great vintage automobiles and new ones like we're seeing here with this gorgeous black Suburban. That, of course, the Parade Honor Guard, which is coming through. This is Grand Marshal Mac Abbott, I believe.
Well, he's coming in the next instance. We're going to see here with Wells Fargo. And the Wells Fargo employees and their children are out there handing out American flags along the route. We were excited last year about Wells Fargo coming into our market and providing their Wells Fargo stage, which is their logo for not only immediately, but from years past, from the start of Wells Fargo and those stagecoaches we remember from all the Westerns and dates back to the 1800s. But that is in the parade today. And you're right, Bill, that is carrying our honorary Grand Marshal, Mac Abbott, a World War II veteran and president of the Pearl Harbor's Survivors.
What's interesting is this may be the only time in my entire life when I can sing that song from Music Man. The Wells Fargo stage is coming down the road.
Well, it's a living symbol of the American spirit, the Wells Fargo stagecoach, with Marvin Yoder handling the ribbons. And J.D. Miller up there on top, and he's waving. And there's Mac. He's on the far side. You may be able to get a shot as we get down the street, along with some other great veterans. And, of course, America is really proud of our heritage, and Wells Fargo goes back, and they're serving your financial needs today. We appreciate them.
Coming up next in the parade, Larry Emmett, who is the commander of American Legion Post number 7 right here in Gainesville. Of course, those are the folks who are sponsoring this wonderful parade we have today. They were in that beautiful yellow Jeep. But look at this.
Well, I think that would be the 40 at 8, an elite group of American Legion members depicting earlier methods of transportation. And so we see Ray Schubert, who is the adjunct and a former leader of the American Legion here, former commander. And we see a lot of those people. Joe T. Wood.
Joe T. Wood, sure.
Senior there in the black Mercedes. And so, these people came home and then they continue to serve our community. They served our country, and they serve our community and our country at the same time for the things that the Paul E. Boulding Post of the American Legion continues to do.
Yeah, they certainly, they defended our nation, they defended our freedoms, and then they came back and they continued to serve by picking up their lives and becoming productive, which is what they were when they left. It's just an amazing testament, and that's why they're called the greatest generation.
A good point on that. And really, you look at the Vietnam veterans, they're kind of picking up that mantra, and they're moving on with that. They're doing a great job. And I'm sure we'll see that with Gulf War veterans, Grenada veterans. The list will go on and on as time continues to move on.
Now we're seeing the 40 and 8 elite group of American Legion members depicting earlier methods of transport, as you mentioned. 40 and 8 stands for 40 men and 8 horses in a vehicle built that looks like a train. And I just have to throw in a personal aside here. The car you see coming up, the Pontiac, we had one of those, picture it in blue. It was the first car I ever learned to drive on.
How about a World War II veteran still marching in his uniform, folks?
That's amazing. And that's the uniform that he served in. It still fits.
We also saw L.C. Peace and Eugene Brown in vehicles provided by Hayes Chrysler Plymouth and Simpson Trucking a little bit earlier. And Cecil Boswell, who we just saw go by. And Cecil is in his 90s. He's getting a great round of applause as he marches down. And Cheryl told the story the other day. She called Cecil just to check on him, and he was out cutting his grass. She goes, I think he's okay.
He'll be able to do the parade route. And there's our 40 and 8. And they're having a big time with that.
The Jug Tavern line. So a lot of our American Legion Post 328 aboard, American Legion Post 7 people aboard, and again, we appreciate what they do.
And they are followed by the American Legion ladies. Betty Heathman, unit president. Mission is to support the American Legion regional program for veterans, young people, and the community, striving to advance the understanding of patriotism and the responsibility of citizenship. Underline that, responsibility. Freedom isn't free. We all owe for it.
And American Legion Post 328, L.C. Pace and Eugene Brown, and vehicles provided, as we mentioned, by Hayes, Chrysler, Dodge. And they're located there in Oakwood on Frontage Road, and they do a great job in helping make the parade flow smoothly as well.
My, what a great turnout we have, and we're just getting started, folks. It is the 9th annual Memorial Day Parade, and coming up next, we have the rollback with the World War II veterans, driven by our good buddy Johnny Halsey.
And we should see them coming in just a little bit, right behind
the Legion Riders.
Yeah, our Legion Riders are in there now, and I want to say thanks to them. So, Legion Riders in the parade. I think this is the first entry we've seen from these, and you see these gentlemen who have served in different branches and in different eras, but they're all coming together today.
I love the guys in the fatigues coming through the camo, and the gentleman who just went by us with the horns on his
the antlers.
The antlers on his helmet. That's different.
Oh, man. We continue with our Memorial Day Parade here on TV 18, the government channel, and on WDUN TV at AccessNorthGA.com, presented by Rucksack Military Surplus, Longstreet Cafe, American Legion Post 7, and TV 18, the government channel.
Coming up next, we have American Legion Post 328, and that is the Eugene Brown, L.C. Pace and Eugene Brown, and the vehicles provided by Hayes earlier. And now we have the Gainesville School ROTC Color Guard.
And with that, you saw Lovey Smith there. He's been a scoutmaster for a long, long time in this community, and Troop 15, and we appreciate what he's done. He's influenced many a young man in our community, and a thanks to him.
These folks are definitely excited to be here, and we are certainly glad to have them.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not often you get to ride down Green Street with the door of your van wide open like that. So take that opportunity. Remember that.
Only during the parade.
Exactly. That's the only time you can do that.
There's a great group helping homeless veterans, and they'll have a big fundraiser and a big promotion coming up September 24th through September 25th of this year, and you can keep it tuned to WDUN to find out more about that.
Fine-looking piece of machinery there from Hayes again. Isn't that just a beautiful car? That's the new Charger. Is that right? Or Challenger?
Right. That's the Challenger. The Charger's behind. There's the Charger in the red.
Mm-hmm. Love that Challenger. Nice car.
That is a huge entry this year from Post 328. Nice job by Post 328.
And I will also give them kudos for having the restraint not to do burnouts, because if I were driving that Challenger, I would be doing just that.
But they would have no constraints or restraints.
Yes, and
stopping you for that from immediately.
And putting new tires on the vehicle. You talk about a great work. You were talking about Boy Scouts earlier. How about the Girl Scouts? Girl Scouts of Historic Georgia coming into the parade now. And they build girls with courage, confidence, and character, make the world a better place. The Girl Scouts of Historic Georgia serving girls in kindergarten through 12th grade in 122 counties in Georgia, 1 in Alabama, and 2 in South Carolina. Of course, founded in Georgia, in Savannah, by Juliet Gordon Lowe back in 1912.
Which means next year will be the 100th anniversary of the Girl Scouts. That'll be an exciting year.
If you think you're seeing a lot of entries from the Girl Scouts today, I'll bet we'll have even more next year. By the way, 3.2 million members throughout the U.S., including U.S. territories in more than 92 countries through the U.S. Girl Scouts overseas. Next year, as you mentioned, the 100th anniversary, and they will make that number even larger.
Great entry by the Girl Scouts here this year, and they're continuing to march down the street. And we mentioned earlier the Johnny Halsey Auto Parts rollback. There's David Looper. And David said, thank you, but I'll make this one myself. So a World War II veteran, David Looper, in the parade today. And on back, we'll get a shot of that. You'll see some of the veterans that did ride on the truck, provided by Johnny Halsey Truck Parts. And they're located at 2177 Athens Highway in Gainesville. Look, he's throwing out candy. Isn't that great?
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Incredible.
If you want to hear some stories, sit down and talk to these guys. I'll tell you what Memorial Day is all about.
Absolutely.
My goodness. We were talking about old cars. I bet that one coming up is probably about one of the oldest ones we'll have in our parade.
Well, I believe we're going to see on the golf cart here, that's going to be World War II veteran Jim Birch. He was a medic during World War II, and he should be riding in the golf cart. And I believe behind him, here's the golf cart. That should be, again, veteran Jim Birch. Boy, that golf cart is really decorated up, huh?
They've got it. I mean, even look at the wheels. Even like a set of hubcaps like that, those don't come wrong every day.
Absolutely. Nice job. So as a World War II veteran, he gets a very nice round of applause here at our viewing stand.
And coming up, as we mentioned, one of the older cars that you're going to see here, and there he is, veteran Lloyd Stone, Purple Heart recipient, served in Europe and North Africa, riding in that gorgeous Model A, and we salute you, sir. Thank you for your service.
Another nice round of applause, and we do want to mention Grady Faulkner, and we may have seen Grady a little earlier in the parade, another Purple Heart recipient from Pearl Harbor.
Coming up next, we have the Smoky Springs retirement bus carrying several World War II veterans. And I'll tell you, Smoky Springs, you see those folks all over the place. They're such a great part of our community. It's good to have them with us.
A group organized by Paul Scroggs, president. And as we go into the military veterans vehicles that we see here from the Korean War Veterans of America, so Paul Scroggs organizing that. And
is that our good buddy? Is that who I think it is?
Frank Turk driving his vintage Korean military Jeep. And these are all real Korean military Jeeps as we see here.
This is the real deal, and you see they've gone down to last detail with the axes and shovels on the side of that one we saw just a moment ago, and all of them are authentic, and that in and of itself is an accomplishment because it's hard to find parts for these things.
1950 to 1953, the Korean conflict, the Korean War, and that is a war that is still ongoing. To be honest with you, that has never really ended.
Officially, there was no ceasefire in that or end to that. But you know what I've always found interesting about people calling it the Korean conflict? You talk to the guys who are riding those Jeeps, they'll tell you it was a war. And we need to remember that.
Well, here come the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 772, and you don't have to you don't have to live here very long to know how involved this group is in this organization.
Definitely. The President Bill Harris, they award scholarships to the families of Vietnam veterans. They also help any Vietnam veteran in need, and I mean anyone in need. 120 members, 33 associate members, and Parade Committee Dave Dellinger, Roger Keebaugh, and Judy Brookshire are also members, and we appreciate what they do.
Boy, we really do. They do an incredible job.
Another shot there with the child on the shoulder certainly says it all. They have quite a turnout here, and anytime, as we mentioned, they'll have any vet in need. Everything that we go to, when we go to the 4th of July fireworks, when we're at something like this, we're at the car show downtown, anywhere that we show up, these guys are right there, and they're always working to raise funds to help these vets. They never are going to forget what they went through, the welcome they didn't get that they deserved, and they are not going to forget those who are coming back from our current conflicts. They take care of them as well because they really know how to empathize and sympathize.
Also, we'll say to Johnny Hultsey, and this is one we heard this earlier this morning, one of the greatest signs see, got freedom, thank a veteran, and there he is in his Ford panel truck.
That's a beautiful piece of vehicle, and that's a great slogan. Talk about another great vehicle. Look at this one coming up here. Fine from the Chevy Motor Works.
Yeah, 55 Chevrolet, again with Chapter 772, the Vietnam veterans, and a 62 Chevy behind that.
Love to see those cars coming down the road. That's just gorgeous. Got a Ford behind that.
Yeah, 67 Fairlane. And, you know, Bill, they didn't get the welcome, but, boy, they have come back and rolled up their sleeves and made the community a better place, not just here in Northeast Georgia, but across the nation.
They did not let that stop them, and I appreciate that. Nice yellow Corvette. You know, that's one of my favorite colors for a vet. I know you didn't ask, but just in case.
Thank you, Bill.
Let you know.
Appreciate you throwing that hint out. I'm not sure who that was a hint to, but here we go.
Anybody will take it.
Absolutely. Well, they had several entries here as far as the Vietnam Veterans 772, and again, thanks for what they do and for being part of this parade.
120 members strong, and as we mentioned, 33 associate members. And anytime you'd like to lend them a hand with their projects, they're always willing to take folks on. They can use volunteers all the time.
Well, here's Andy Fuller, and he is, of course, the Superior Court judge. What a beautiful Cadillac, and that's being driven by Reggie Forster, who is also a Vietnam veteran. What a beautiful car that is. Well, veterans of Gulf Storm, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Veteran Wayne Smallwood, a Purple Heart recipient, and we see some of the equipment being used in those conflicts now. Quite different from the Jeeps we saw go through earlier, Bill.
Yes, and a lot bigger. Look at that, would you? surface, tires, the whole thing. You talk about something that's ready for service. It really is. They've done a good job keeping that up. 802nd.
Yeah, the Ordnance Corps. Parade continues on, and more entries for us here this afternoon. The Gold Star Wives, Chapter 772. Of course, women whose husbands die while serving in the armed forces, and members are there, and they participate in so many different things, Bill, so we don't want to forget them as well.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, the United States Marine Corps League, you see them coming through as they're escorting some of their participants and some of the people that are in their color guard.
And coming up behind them, we'll be checking in with the Disabled American Veterans. The Dave supports vets to the VA, transports vets to the VA hospital free of charge every day, every week. They've been doing that for 11 years. You talk about giving something that's really needed. These folks that come back that need that transport, that is fantastic.
Well, a great round of applause from the Marine Corps League as they continue to ride through. And Bill, that's a good point. You were right on the money on that. And we see more from the U.S. Marine Corps League. Beautiful Hummer there that they use as a promotional vehicle. And I don't know if we can get a shot of the gentleman, the soldier, in his
full
Marine,
dress, yeah.
Full dress Marine.
Seem a lot better if you were in this car. Look at the upholstery of that, would you?
Hey, I love that red,
blue, all the way around.
Yes, sirree. And of course, they're also remembering those who didn't come home, the MIAs that we still remember fondly.
And as we mentioned, they were followed by, or being followed by, our Disabled American Veterans making their way down. Here again, and we're seeing a lot of these organizations that do so much great service, and people like this, they need our help. So if you're looking for a place to volunteer and you want to make a difference, maybe you didn't serve overseas, maybe you didn't serve in the military, but you can certainly serve by helping these folks out.
And you see the van there? That van transports veterans to the VA hospital free of charge every day of the week, has been doing so for as long as this parade's been here, well, almost as long as this parade. They've been doing 11 years. Parade's been here 9 years. That's quite a service, too, Bill.
That's dedication. That is dedication. It's easy a lot of times for folks to say we're going to help out right when the need is there, and they forget that that need is going to be there for some time. Just when the veterans come back from a conflict, it doesn't end right there. They're still having to deal with issues, many of them, once they get back.
Well, we have a quick break. I want to go back to the Chapter 772 Gold Star Wives. It's a car show that they had last month. The Vietnam veterans met one of the Gold Star Wives. In fact, the lady you saw riding there earlier, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, Bill, they go before members of the House. They go before House and Senate committees on issues connecting and concerning compensation, educational benefits, medical care, and other programs pertaining to the welfare of widows. And that is quite a huge program. They don't get the notoriety, and we want to give them a shout-out today.
I see some of our fine firefighters coming up down the street handing out fire hats and candy to the kids along the way.
That is a very cool thing to do, no doubt about that.
They're with us each and every day back home, protecting us, keeping us safe, and ready when we need them. Just pick up the phone, 911, and they're always there and ready to serve, and we appreciate that. And there's a young man who's having a big day right there. He's co-pilot right there. I bet he's running the siren. That's his job.
Oh, boy. Well, Gainesville Fire Department out front and center, and I think they're as active as the Shriners the way they're going back and forth. And
well, I tell you what, they can give them a run for the money. They've got a red Cadillac like the Shriners, but they've got a few vehicles that might rival some of the Shriner vehicles. Look at that hook and ladder truck there. That's amazing. That's a great piece of machinery. I wonder if they'd let me drive the back end of that.
Bill, since you don't have a car at all, and you're probably not even, you haven't been driving enough to keep your skills sharp, no.
You don't think so? Okay,
no.
Probably not. They'd probably let Smokey the Fire Dog there do it before they would me.
You know, that's a new piece of equipment. You're looking at that RTV there. That's a new piece of equipment for the Gainesville Fire Department as they continue to update and upgrade to have the latest technology. Then you kind of go back in years a little bit with this technology of about a 67 or 66 Cadillac.
And it is serving us well today, that is for sure.
How about that? That's a great shot right there, huh? Awesome shot. I love they got a celebrity on top of the hook and ladder there.
I got the fire dog with it.
Dog. There's Sparky. Wayne Howard was in that Cadillac, and those are some of the retired Gainesville firefighters from some years back, doing a great job.
Some of you don't see in a fire truck very often. Pretty girls waving.
There you go. Well, Gainesville Fire and Rescue, front and center here today as we continue our coverage of the 9th annual Memorial Day Parade in Gainesville, brought to you in part by Rucksack Military Surplus, Longstreet Cafe, and American Legion Post 7. And you're watching on TV 18, the government channel, also on WDUN TV at AccessNorthGA.com. Joel Williams and Bill Main with you today, and we're happy to be back for this parade, Bill.
Certainly are. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you for this broadcast and to have such great seats. A lot of folks were lining up a couple hours before the parade. Of course, they blocked the streets off at about 9 o'clock. Parade stepped off at 10, and it is just rolling and rolling. And we have really barely scratched the surface as we have some 90 entries in here.
Coming up next, the American Red Cross Northeast Georgia chapter, providing the emergency relief throughout 13 counties in North Georgia. They have been very, very busy responding to tornado-ravaged areas of Rabun, Pickens, White, Habersham, and Lumpkin counties, and we really do appreciate the Red Cross in the wake of what's happened in the Southeast and what has just happened last week in Missouri. Remember the American Red Cross. You can donate through your local Northeast Georgia chapter to continue to help the things that are going on for rehabilitation and resupply in Northeast Georgia and Northwest Georgia, and also in those other states we mentioned as well.
And they would have had more folks actually in their parade. They've got a pretty good contingency, but many of them are still deployed in those areas that you mentioned, and they're doing what they do best, helping out people when they're in need. Now, North Georgia Star Twirlers coming up next from Banks County, Gainesville, and Hall County. They do a great job, led by Betty Rogers. The group has been in the parade every single year, and we appreciate that.
And there you see, behind there, or you at least hear the sounds coming up behind the twirlers. They'll have the Chestatee High School Marching War Eagle Band. And that has been a band that's been in every parade that we've had since 2002 under the direction of Daniel Merck. The program started with 48 members, has grown to 140, from 48 to 140. How about that, Bill? In the 10 to 12 years of the school. 10 years actually coming up next year. And they performed in the World March Fest in Epcot, performed at the Cotton Bowl Parade in 2006, and the Dollywood Parade in Pigeon Forge in 2008.
Also, the Salute to America 4th of July Parade in Atlanta back in 2003 through 2007. They've also been in the Murrayville Day Parade, and, of course, our Memorial Day Parade, as you mentioned, each and every year.
Let's get a listen. Oh, yeah, a little Viva Las Vegas.
Yes, and they're dressed in red, white, and blue. We saw the red T-shirts, the white T-shirt with the core, and the blue coming up behind.
Hey, you know, Viva Las Vegas, they did an Elvis show last year for halftime for Chestatee, and that is one of the most requested and one of the most popular songs they did all year. So a lot of people, when your drum major comes out as Elvis later on, that's a pretty cool show. So thanks under the direction of Daniel Merck and the Chestatee War Eagle Marching Band.
Who, by the way, they could have slept in today because school has been out for a week, but no, every year they come and they're part of it, and so we appreciate their dedication.
Well, they really are dedicated to the community, no doubt about that.
And of course, you can't get it done without the equipment truck.
Oh, he's throwing out bags of peanuts to you there, Bill.
Peanut M&M.
There you go.
And I believe that was a candy bar for you over there, a payday.
Our buddy Keith Fairhurst, who he's in charge of the trailer, and he volunteers, and he goes all these places from New York to Monroe area. He's done it.
Wherever they need him, he's ready to go.
There you go. Well, we continue here, Republican Party, and Charles Lewis, of course, Hall County Republican Party chairman, coming through, and it is election year, and that always bodes well for a parade.
Yes, it does, as we will have a few of our representatives and state senators coming through. We, so, of course, let things off with the Grand Marshal, our Lieutenant Governor, who is from Hall County, Casey Cagle. Passing out flags, passing out candy.
Well, that's Lee Dara, the district attorney.
Well, quick word about Lee, and earlier we had Judge Fuller came through. They were part of the celebrity servers that we did at Mellow Mushroom for the Edmondson Telford House, and these guys did a great job. If you've never seen your DA serve pizza, you should have been there.
Lee Dara's kind of pulling the Jimmy Carter. He's not riding in the car. He's out walking today. There's a car for Lee Dara, and here's another entry as far as cars are concerned.
Wow, these are identical, aren't they?
Well, those are beautiful. Well, one's a coupe and one's a sedan, but boy, beautiful.
Excellent, excellent bright work on the front of those.
Those are entries for the Republican Party as well. And you're going to see that military truck coming through. That is also from area Republicans as they come through, the Hall County Republican Party. And
Lee Hawkins?
Yeah, Lee Hawkins on board. And you'll notice some others as they are there. And continue to work inside their party, holding elected office or not elected office. You can certainly work through the Hall County Republican Party.
Some Boy Scouts there bringing our nation's colors. Troop 227 of the Boy Scouts. Third year as a troop. Original members wearing black berets to honor family members that are serving in the military. Their scoutmaster is Michael Vera.
Well, good for them. How about that? That is an incredible entry into the parade. And we're seeing some of them as they continue to filter through with some of the current members.
That is Boy Scout 219.
Oh,
Boy
I'm
Scout
sorry.
219. They're sponsored by Time Grove Baptist Church.
Wait, might be Timber Grove or is it Time Grove?
It must be Timber Grove.
Okay.
I think it's a typo here. I
We'll
apologize.
double check on that.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I've never heard of Time Grove.
There's Senator Butch Miller thanking a veteran. He, of course, the Georgia senator, and there he is. I don't know if we see the shot of him.
He's coming up behind
running. There
behind that ridge line.
There
He
he's
is.
running, handing out.
He's got his sunscreen on his head, as you see.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at this. United States Marine Corps. Is that George Washington driving that?
Well, you know, George Washington, ready to go at a moment's notice, the father of our country. And, of course, that is the entry from the Northeast Georgia History Center, and you'll see the period costumes come through. If you haven't been to the History Center, you owe it to yourself and your family to make sure that you pay a visit very, very soon. Located on the Brenau University campus in Gainesville on Brenau Avenue.
Matter of fact, from where we're standing here at the Jacobs Building, it's just right behind us.
There you go. Gainesville Police Department. Of course, without them, we wouldn't have the security, the safety. And Brian Kelly is the chief of police, and he's got his first parade as chief now.
All right, a moment of silence, if you would, please. It's my time. The Lanier Corvette Unlimited. Lanier Corvettes Unlimited, we have 10 entries from these folks, and you talk about some beautiful cars. I'm telling you, America's sports car, the Corvette, and when it comes to making fine sheet metal or fiberglass, is the case of the Corvette, I'll be honest with you, I don't think anybody does it better than the good old USA.
Okay, Mr. Official there.
That
What
one
year
is,
model?
I'm guessing that's about a 70-71, because 71 was the last year they used the chrome bumper.
Oh, very nice, Bill.
This would be one of your newer models, last year's model or this year, one of the two. You're looking early 2000s there, about a 2003, 2004. That was one of the last years they had the pop-up headlights.
More information than we wanted to know.
I
We
know.
appreciate that. If you
I
need
know.
more, contact Bill after the show, Monday through Friday at WDON.
That is a beautiful piece of machinery, though.
Well, Corvettes are very strong, not only in our area, but across the country, and it's amazing to how the people get together at Corvette clubs and how they have rallies across the country, but they rally and come together for great causes, too.
They certainly do, like being part of this parade, and they do a lot of things as far as charitable work is concerned with our local club here. Just the variety of Corvettes, it's just beautiful.
So when are you going to have a car in the parade? When are you going to just break down and buy one, huh?
I don't know. When I see these guys and gals driving by in these, it gets closer and closer. My resistance is being worn down pretty rapidly.
1965. How about that one?
That is a sweet ride right there. Classic look. And then, of course, it's followed directly. We'll see this in just a moment. The silver of the Stingray, and this became the standard bearer, if you will, body style for a good long time for the Corvette.
Well, maybe one of these days. Maybe one of these days Bill will have one.
One of those wouldn't be bad either. I kind of like that.
You like the motorcycles, do you?
Yes, I do. I like that three-wheeler there. That's amazing. At least I wouldn't have to worry about falling over.
Well, here's Gainesville City Councilwoman Myrtle Figueres. She's in a nice Cadillac provided by Moss Robertson.
Her driver is zigzagging back and forth to keep the tires warm. I guess they're going to be in a race later today. They want to get them warmed up.
Well, maybe she's racing some of the other council members like George Wangeman, as you see him on your right, and then Bob Hamrick on the left. They've been longtime city council members, and maybe they're going to have a race later on today. We never know with Myrtle.
Well, they better strap in, because it's going to be a pretty good race between those two vehicles right there. One of our good friends is coming into view. Denny Armour and the Armour Percherons.
Boy, I tell you, each horse weighs about 2,000 pounds. Denny and his family have been doing this for a long, long time, and they get out and they will go here and yonder for a good parade. And Denny and his family do a great job. They're located up in the Murrayville, Lumpkin County area, and you'll see the sign there, and they'll be able to come out. They'll give you tours. They'd love to show you what they do. So we appreciate Denny and what he does and his family with the Percherons.
That's one dog you don't want to step on you, that's for sure. Now, here's one that I'm excited about for you. This is Bulldog Grillers.
Hey, how about that?
They were at the barbecue championship at Brenau University
Love
this year.
that grill.
It's Tough Dog Griller. 7-foot rooster is coming up. Did they bring the rooster? Yes, the rooster's coming up here in just a moment. I knew you loved the Bulldog Grill, but this one right here, check this out. 7-foot rooster. It is a smoker and a cooker. cooker. It has 400 hand-pounded feathers. It took 8 months to build, and I'll tell you, I've had barbecue out of that particular rooster right there, and it makes good cue.
So Bulldog Collision, which had a grill, and then Tough Dog Grillers have a 7-foot rooster, so it's like Georgia and South Carolina playing each other here.
And they put on a good show when it comes down to grilling as well.
AAA Scales and Systems, independently owned scale company that tests, sells, services, and repairs industrial scales in Gainesville, and they want to support troops. And their prayers are with every serviceman and woman out there, and in memory of Uncle Gene Leland Eugene Shadburn. Without him, we wouldn't have had this parade to begin with, so a big thanks to him.
Yes, he was such a driving force and had such a passion for this parade, and so glad that he was able to push that on.
LC Motorcycle is coming through, and they're from the United States Army. You'll see veterans, and they remember the POWs, MIAs, and flying the flags of some of the branches they served in.
See the Coast Guard, see the Marines, see the Army. I believe I saw an Air Force one a little bit earlier, too.
Also see kids coming through, and
be all you can be.
Well, we continue on with some more old cars coming through, the Lanierland Old Car Club. And they have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 25 cars, starting with a beautiful Mercury Montego, a 50s model there.
Lovely paint job, and if you notice inside, the interior done in black and yellow as well. They had it at the car show, the Old Friends Car Show last week. Gorgeous car.
How about that 57 two-door coupe? Huh? Is that beautiful or what?
I wouldn't turn it down, that's for sure.
And a nice Falcon convertible.
Now here's something that somebody's been spending some time in their garage putting together. Right behind the Falcon convertible, you're going to see an open-wheel roadster, if you will. Now, I guess if I have to drive something, I think I want to get back and forth to work in that.
We continue our coverage here of the Memorial Day Parade. It is our 9th annual in Gainesville.
I'm hearing gunfire.
We're going to have a lot of entries still to go here today, Bill, and looking now, we see Cub Scout Pack 151. They're from Flowery Branch. We appreciate them being here. Did you ever march in a parade as a Cub Scout?
Never did. Never did. I know these kids are excited to be part of it. By the way, that takes us just one entry over the halfway point as far as this parade's concerned, and those guys look like they're excited to be part of it, something that they'll remember each and every year, and hopefully they'll be back with us next year.
That is the point of that. You do remember, and it's a fun thing for kids to do. You know,
did you ever get a chance to do that?
I did, in my Cub Scout uniform, and the parade ended, and I just kept on marching. It was that much fun. I didn't want to stop.
Wound up in Gainesville at the radio station, and he's been there ever since, but we don't mind. Did you throw the candy and all that stuff?
You know, that was the pre-candy days.
Oh, really? Okay.
All right. It was about, what, 1970 or so? Not a lot of candy throwing going on in those days.
If I'd come up, we wouldn't have thrown the candy. We would have been eating it as a kid. We wouldn't have let candy go.
May have had some and didn't know what happened to it. Well, Doug Collins is up next, state representative, and he, like some of the other representatives and politicians, not riding. They got a car, but they're walking. Doug, of course, with State House District number 27.
Doug does a great job for us, and Doug was on the air with us not too long ago with the Allegheny Company with the show, and had some interesting things to say about his time serving in Iraq. Of course, he was a chaplain there, and some of the stories that he told that were very, very touching about people that he saw working there in Iraq, and then got the magazine and some of the faces that he knew who unfortunately had been killed in battle, and reminding us what Memorial Day is about.
Up next, the British Armored Vehicle. It's a Ferret. Dave Young has that. I love to see this in the parade today because there's such close ties between our country and Great Britain. We're usually arm in arm in many of the battles across the world and have been, so good to see that there today. Jason Deal, the Superior Court judge, and he and his family walking and in the parade today as well.
I like his vehicle. The wagon. That was nice. Of course, I like this one too.
Well, it's a new entry this year, which is the North Georgia, or the Georgia Mountain Food Bank, and they do a wonderful job too, and it's an organization that they work very hard. You saw the director, Kay Blackstock. She is a hard worker with that, and that is a love of the heart for her, I'll tell you.
Talk about love of your heart. Well, that girl is the love of somebody's heart. She's a pretty girl there standing there on the road. But loving your heart is what Jazzercise is all about. And as you can see, they are cranked up. They're not just satisfied to be marching through the parade. They want to Jazzercise through the parade. They're going to be in great shape by the time they finish with this. They've been in the parade all 9 years, organized by Colleen Mungie, and offers kids camps in hip-hop, dance, and in cheerleading as well.
You should Jazzercise when you walk to work, Bill. That would be good for you.
I just get my headphones going. I'll be ready to go.
Well, look at them go. They are are doing a great job.
I don't know if I did it as actively as they did. I think I'd be extremely exhausted by the time I got there. But
well, they're marching about 5-8 blocks. You would be lucky to get one, I guess.
I think so, the way they do it. And I'll tell you this, Colleen shows up at a lot of the 5Ks that we do and some of the charity runs that we're involved with the radio station. And she gets folks warmed up, and she's just got a big heart for the community and always wants folks to be as healthy as they can be. She's always working in that direction. So I think that's a great way to serve our community as well.
Oh, no doubt about it. You want a healthy community.
People on the sidelines are going to get into it here, I think.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Give it a shot. Huh.
We had a participant from Jacobs Media on the sideline doing that, and just got an invitation to join, so good for her.
I think she's got the moves now. She ought to be there, most definitely.
We're continuing our coverage here today of the 9th annual Memorial Day Parade in Gainesville, presented by Paulie Bolding Post 7 of the American Legion, and brought to you in part by North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Red, white, and blue flags being waved there.
And we've got some more vehicles, and this is coming in from a good friend of the programs, the Bill and Joel Morning Show, our good friends from Don Kern's Record Service. And a couple entries by Don, and you're going to see one right in front of his record there, and we'll get a shot here in a few moments of that beautiful 67 Camaro.
Yeah, the tag on the Camaro, you can't see it. It says, wanted it, got it, wanted it, threw a fit, got it.
Well, that's probably right. There's Don, who threw the fit for the car, actually found by his wife, Jane, who was driving the older Ford in front of him. Don's got a great story of how Jane found the car and called him. He just got in his truck and went and got it. So
that's what I call a great relationship right there.
Right.
A match made in heaven.
And Don Kern's Record Service, they do a great job. They've been serving this community for a long, long time with those bright yellow and white records all across North Georgia. If you ever need them, give them a call, and they'll be glad to serve you.
Coming up next, we see the Elks Club coming here, 1126. Calvin Sneed, State Project supports Aidmore Center for Young Women, and they do a great work there as well. We have a very active Elks Club in Gainesville, and they're always looking for new members. If you want to serve, they'd love to have you.
Especially comes to being drug-free and drug-free programs, Bill.
Yes.
They do a great job with that.
Very active in that regard. They have a lot of fun together. They really do.
And you see they've got several entries, not only their trailer that they go out and facilitate and do things, but they've also got, a little stuff going on there with the Jeeps. And
that's all because of their pool, and they do have their pool program.
That's right.
If a lot of folks remember growing up and going as kids to the Elks Club to spend time in the pool, cooling off and relaxing, and they have a beautiful new pool there. It's been open just a handful of years. And again, if you'd like to be part of the Elks Club, they'd love to have you. And, of course, pool membership's available as well.
Well, coming up next, we have the Flowery Branch Junior Falcons. And they've got some great sponsors for them, including the Chick-fil-A there. And you'll see some of those sponsors on board. But they do a great job in their feeder program into some of the great things they do at Flowery Branch High School and through some of the middle schools here as well. So the Flowery Branch Junior Falcons part of our parade this year.
Very, very excited to be here. Look at them handing out that candy. I'm telling you, though, when I was that age, I'd have a hard time parting with it. I got to hand it to these kids. They got a lot of strength. Got to hand it to them.
Oh, me.
And most of them, could be riding on the trailer there, but they're all out wanting to walk. I think that's great.
Absolutely. Well, getting to hand out candy.
Coming up next, we have our RC Club, Georgia Mountain RC Club, as they have their remote-controlled cars they'd like to race, and their airplanes, although there's one of the planes, but I don't think you can drive the car. James French driving the 1962 Jaguar XKE. They have approximately 65 members from teens to 85 years old, because remember, when you've got an RC, you're a kid.
Hey, there you go. All County Sheriff's Department in the parade, of course. They do a lot of great things, and that would include the fire department coming through and the honor guard and the bagpipe player. Anything more ominous, I guess, than the bagpipes playing on certain occasions?
I'll tell you what, when you hear them playing like Amazing Grace or whatever, it'll pull a tear in a heartbeat.
And of course, with that, there's a program for kids to learn more about firefighting, fire safety, and you see them here now and watch their movements and their demonstrations.
a fine young group of people who are interested in serving us in the community and finding out a little bit more what it means to be a firefighter and a first responder here in the community. And we appreciate that. And Hall County Fire and Emergency Services here again, touch of a button, 911, and they're ready to help when you need the help. And thank goodness that they are.
Engine 105 and Chief David Kimbrell driving that one today, and there he gives a big wave. There's Chief Kimbrell. They do a great job, you're right, Bill, and we're very fortunate to have all the different units that we have around Hall County protecting us, those of us in the county, so thanks to them.
Up next we see the Ladies Auxiliary Patriarch Militant. Love those capes, those beautiful purple capes.
Don't they stand out? They are, and they do a wonderful service for our community as well. Behind them, we'll see another group. We talked to some of these folks earlier today on the air, the Independent Order of Oddfellows and Rebeccas.
They've been in our parade each and every year, and glad to serve our community and glad to be part of the parade. Fraternal organization based on the principles of friendship, love, truth, and the teachings of the Word of God.
Great people. They really are. Well, Miss Georgia Girls an entry this year, and Miss Georgia Girls got a whole trailer load of girls here today, and that goes from a lot of different age groups, and you'll see all the different age categories of queens that are on board. And one bald-headed guy having a good time riding with him.
He has a fine job. He's got the job we all want to have, to be with those fine, gorgeous young ladies.
Yes, sir.
Royal Productions putting this on as well. Royal Productions USA and the Miss Georgia pageants. Join us at Gold Rush.
Hey, that'll be here before you know it. Vacation Bible School is the name of that Gold Rush, coming up June 5th through the 9th, and that's the Gold Rush at Hopewell Baptist Church. And they do a wonderful job. Robbie Foster, Dr. Robbie Foster is the pastor there, and you loved Bible school as a kid, I know. Now they have all these themes.
Did a lot of art projects. Loved that.
Now you can go prospecting. How about that?
Take home a nugget of gold.
Well, they are great people. Joe and Renee Steinmetz are heading up that organization this year for Vacation Bible School at Hopewell Baptist Church. And if you're not familiar, just look them up online or give them a call, and they'll be glad to get your child and your family signed up for VBS.
Do I get to talk like a prospector?
I hope not.
Okay.
Murrayville Christian Academy also in the parade this year. We appreciate them being part of our parade. There's some of those kids from the Murrayville Christian Academy, waving flags and big smiles.
They do grades K through 12. Coming up next, we have Charles Baker, who is our Hall County Clerk of Court, elected Clerk of Court in 2008 after working in the clerk's office for 30 years. He'll be coming into view here in just a bit. So he's waving, walking behind the car. I guess that's a tradition now. You have a car, but you walk behind it as a politician.
No, or in front of it, or around it, or...
No. If I were in that case and you were driving, I'd be behind it. I'm just saying.
Well, Charles he's walking today and waving at the crowds as he makes his way down Green Street. And Ashley Bell. And, of course, he's a Hall County Commissioner, and Ashley he's riding. He's going to break the tradition here today, and I don't blame him on a beautiful Mustang.
Especially a beautiful Mustang, and there's his lovely wife with him. Glad to see Ashley out and all that he does for our community as well in his service.
Ashley Bell.
He's having a big day, isn't he?
He's got people in front and people behind. Looking good today.
He brought the contingent. Speaking of bringing the contingent, we have quite a contingent to go. We still have about 30 entries left in our parade. That does include the Shriners coming up toward the end of the parade. But before we get there, we have quite a bit to go for you today, including the Sons of the Confederate Veterans coming into view. We hear the drumming in the background. They are leading the parade each and every year.
You can even join, by the way, by calling 1-800-MY-DIXIE. And that is in memory. Their whole is to keep history alive. Their whole goal is to keep history alive, and in memory of over 30,000 Confederate soldiers. 300,000 Confederate soldiers.
By the way, of course, Memorial Day got its origins as Decoration Day after the Civil War. It saw a slight drop-off, and then it came back during World War I.
Let's observe now, and we may get a gun salute. We'll see.
Black powder.
always brings a cheer from the crowd, or, ooh, I wasn't expecting that from the crowd. But
nothing like that sound, and the folks watching at home can't smell that gunpowder, but I love that smell.
Look at the difference in the ages. That's exactly what you would have seen in the Civil War. You would have seen older citizens, you would have seen younger citizens, and, you know, these people will do the reenactment. One day there'll be a Union soldier, the next day there'll be a Confederate soldier, and they really do a wonderful job at keeping history alive.
They know their history, and if you ever want to learn more about it, anytime you go to one of the reenactments, ask them questions. That's what they love, and they've studied up on it. And look at these beautiful dresses, these costumes. They do a lot of work to make sure that they're authentic. Now, this portion of the parade, unlike the Corvette portion, that was mine. This one is yours, my friend.
Well, we have antique tractors owned by Billy Robertson, Mike Smith, Philip Allison, and Kenneth Wilbanks. Kenneth is driving that 1958 John Deere. There you see the Oliver coming through, an Oliver tractor. I don't think they make that brand much anymore.
Yeah, I was not familiar with that brand actually until the parade when we started doing this parade 9 years ago. I had never seen one. I didn't know there's so many different types of tractors out there.
Absolutely.
But all I had to do was ask you, I'll bet.
Well, some have gone by the wayside, but it is good that these people with their vintage tractors keep that alive, even in small ones. But there is a Minneapolis Moline. I know we've had that one in the parade several years, and that was a row crop tractor, and that, of course, from the Midwest and heavily used not only in the Midwest, but around the country as well.
And nicely restored, and now I'm getting a whiff of diesel from that tractor, and I tell you, I kind of like that smell too.
Oh yeah, that's a great
smell of work being done, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Means we'll be having good crops coming soon. There's another John Deere. Am I correct on that? I see my colors.
Yes, sir.
I'm learning. See, I can be taught.
That's right. And tractor aficionados, they'll either say I drive green or I drive red, because those are the two big makes.
Oh, okay.
For the most part.
Now red would be Massey Ferguson.
Well,
or
no,
Ford,
actually, or more of a harvester, because the collectors are usually a John Deere or International Harvester.
Oh, okay, all right.
Not that you couldn't have a Massey Ferguson and have red, or you might have a Case and have some red mixed in on that. And Case and IH are together now, so that would be part of that. How about some antique cars, Bill?
You gotta love this. 1929 Model A Ford.
Isn't that beautiful?
Very well done. And you gotta love this. Our nation's colors, Old Glory there, on a John Deere.
Pulling another tractor. We'll see this in your screen here in just a few moments. You know, you got to wear overalls on a tractor. That is the correct attire. He has got it done right.
Well, and while we're saluting our veterans, and we're saluting those who certainly gave all so we could have this free country, but remember, our farmers, they give each and every day so that we can eat. And I think sometimes we take that for granted. We go to the store, we buy our food, and have no clues where it comes from. It's guys like this on tractors working each and every day, good weather, bad weather, to make sure that we can eat.
Well, we might have had one that had a little mechanical problem here, but a John Deere buddy pulls him through, so no problem there with the Oliver Row Crop 66. How about some dancing music, Bill?
All right, the Alley Cats Dance Studios coming through here with their troupe. Good to see them coming along today. Dance lessons, music lessons, the whole thing.
How about a 61 Chevy?
I'll take it.
Beautiful red and white.
Love that chrome tip pipe and the skirt down there.
You got it like that.
Mm-hmm. I love the attention to detail these car guys give when they restore these things and just dress their vehicles up just right. Now then, here's one that's sort of a take on a classic.
Well, it's a classic without the expense. How about that?
Yeah.
But still looks cool
and all the fun.
That's right. And that is a Model A Ford Roadster replica. How about that? On
Thomas Daly over there doing the ooga ooga.
There you go. Well, the Storm baseball team is in the parade this year, and good to have them on board. And they're having a good time, and they're going to have some bigger kids behind them on two-wheelers. But Storm baseball from Gainesville.
Yeah, that's a 7- and 8-year-old baseball team. Up next we have, we can hear them. We'll see them here in just a moment. Oh, there they are. Sons of Thunder. It's a Christian motorcycle group ministry. They have a thrift store, and they feed every second Saturday of the month. A friend of mine is actually a member of that. And you want to talk about a group of giving guys? They look rough, but don't let them fool you. They are softies underneath, and they are such a giving group.
Somebody getting away without, well, they're all without helmets, so they get to do that here. And
in the parade, at least.
They probably prefer to do that.
What's interesting is these guys do a feeding ministry here, but a lot of times they'll pick up and they'll hit the road and they'll do a feeding program in another town where they need help, and they'll just show up and feed the homeless there or whatever they need to do.
Well, John P. Strickland, who is a candidate for sheriff. Mm-hmm. So he's there walking and waving. And
help me out here. What am I looking at on the step side?
Probably, I tell you, that's going to be like a 1957 Chevy truck.
That's beautiful. I love the curves on that. I love the step side. Always have.
By the way, you'll see the sign on the side. Don't know if you're going to be able to read that or not, but that's for Charles C. Woodall, who died at the Battle of the Bulge. And the Tillo family is doing that for them today, and they are wanting to remember all who gave all. So a nice job by them.
He was born in 1926 and paid the ultimate price in 1945.
There's Elaine Black and her hometown realty. Hair salon. She's got more things going on in Murrayville, and
I'm telling
she's
you,
behind the Murrayville Days Parade and the things they do there. Lane is always out there working. Super Signs in their beautiful bright yellow. I think that's yellow.
Yeah, I think so. Scratch the surface off, see if it's yellow.
There you go. But they're showing their red, white, and blue on the big yellow today.
Well, I certainly know their signs because you can read that from a long way off.
A lot of new entries in the parade this year, and it's just good to see people like, for example, Pierce Pinestraw there in that beautiful old Imperial.
Look at those fins, man.
How about that, huh?
That is an incredible piece of machinery.
And they're a new entry to the parade this year, and we appreciate them being part of this.
Fine group of young men coming up here. I believe these are the Walker Mountain Cougars baseball team, 8 through 10-year-olds.
Woody's Pharmacy and their Jeep pulling them along here today. They're in good
arm on that young man throwing that candy. Good arm. Sign him, make sure he's pitching. Man knows his stuff right there. Look at those guys just throwing the candy. Actually, I think they've hit some of our staffers 2 or 3 times. That's okay. Collect some. I'll get it later.
Well, we're going to see more of the Cougars come through from Walker Mountain. Well, those kids having a great time. Well, there is Kenneth Wilbanks, and he's on a 1958 John Deere 420 LP tractor. One of only 23 made, Bill.
Really? Only 23?
Only 23.
Now, that is a rare piece. That's a piece of history, and I do like his sunscreen, that beautiful umbrella above him. Let's go back to 1927 right now for a little more Auga action in this 1927 Chevy. Leonard Stewart at the wheel. Tan and green. Very well done. And you got to like those wheels.
Absolutely.
No mags on that. Those are solid.
Dwayne Williams is up next. He has 5 entries of old cars, starting with a 1969 Chevy truck. That is a beautiful short bed, and I believe that he will have a Corvette behind that. If we'll get there, it is. There's a shot of the Corvette convertible.
Oh, please take the top down on a sunny day like today. You got to bask in the glow. Come on. That is, of course, you can bask in the glow of those wheels. Those are gorgeous.
How about a 67 Impala, Bill? That a beautiful car?
That is absolutely gorgeous. It really is.
You don't see a lot of those on the road.
No,
or even
you
at
don't.
car shows as far as that's concerned. I want to say a 56. I could be wrong on that, but it is a Ford Fairlane, a beautiful 2-door.
I will take your word for it, sir, because I'm out of my league on that one. Speaking of convertibles, there's one to let you get a good tan on a day like today.
66 Malibu. Beautiful car.
Let's take you to 1981. This is a Z28 Camaro, and saw this one, I'm sure you did, at the Old Friends Car Show just a couple of weeks ago, and what a fine specimen of good old Chevrolet ingenuity there. I'd love to have that one.
Whitmire family, down formerly of Oakwood Tire. Wayne Whitmire and his family with that car.
Speaking of Chevrolet.
Beautiful 55 Chevy, and that beautiful mint green. Isn't that great? A lot of these entries from the Old Friends Car Club, by the way.
I'm waiting for that color to make a comeback, honestly. I think it's time for that mint green to come back.
Well, there's one of them. Another 55 Chevy. The Old Friends Car Club just had their annual car show in the Gainesville Square last week, and they did a wonderful job with that.
I understand they're planning one for fall now.
They do. They do 2 a year, and Good News at Noon. It's one of the great things they sponsor, and there's a beautiful 57 Chevy.
Oh, is this Cotton Eye Joe's?
It is.
Oh, there's a classic right there.
It's a Dodge, by the way. Or part of a Dodge, by the way.
I would call it a work in progress, wouldn't you? Yeah.
CJoes.com.
Jody behind the wheel or Jody Spain?
I believe that's his dad.
Is that his dad?
Yep.
Okay. And now Jody had, he's coming up in his Cadillac coming up in just a moment.
There's Jody.
There's Jody right there. He is. Going great, sir.
I think Jody drove the fenders off that truck. I can't believe they're going to let him in that car. How about this beautiful Cadillac right here, huh?
This is another C.E. Joe's entry into our parade.
Eldorado.
Mm-hmm. How come when I order T-shirts from them, they never offer to let me drive this? I guess my reputation precedes me.
I don't know the color. I don't know the year, make, but I sure do like the color.
I'd like to have one. Now, I know you know this one.
67 GTO. The red ring tires. Love them. Red stripe tires. Love that car.
Not sure about this one.
It's a beautiful color as well.
I love the fenders. Now this one we do know about.
Beautiful, another Ford Fairlane coming through. I believe that's a Fairlane, and a beautiful car. Well, our buddy Doug Hansen's in that old Ford right there. Doug bought that when he was a senior in high school, brand new, I believe.
I'll let you deal with that one.
Doug's a great guy. We appreciate him being in the parade this year. How about that?
How come I expect to see 3 guys with beards come out of this playing loud rock and roll? It looks like a ZZ Top car.
It certainly does indeed.
Now
this goes back to our era here, Bill.
Yeah, talk about your Mustang. Yeah,
a 74 when they brought the Mustang 2 to life. Good to see one of those on the road.
I haven't seen one of those in years.
I want to say a big thanks to North Georgia Medical Transport. They're always fine members of the parade, and they come in their blue today. But check this out. For breast cancer awareness, yes.
Yeah. There you go, the pink. And don't forget Relay for Life again this year. A big get-together in Hall County, and hope that you'll be part of that with us, as we'll be there as well.
Priority Ambulance involved as well this year. We appreciate them.
You know, they won't admit it, but I know they have fun hitting those sirens like that.
Well, on a day like today, they do.
Yeah.
Some more cars coming through.
Another Z28 Camaro. Boy, that is a gorgeous specimen right there. I'm guessing that's, what, 80, 81, something like that?
That would be somewhere in that neighborhood. You're right, Bill. How about
this one? Goes back a little bit further.
Yeah. Beautiful Ford.
Another representative from the world of Chevrolet.
So is that a 69 or a 70 Camaro?
I think that's a 70 the way the lights are on it.
And those are the lights, by the way. They would go through those, those vents, so to speak. And a 66 Chevelle.
Listen to that.
Also a suntan machine today.
I love that rumble. Just a great sound.
A 67 Malibu, Chevelle behind that. I guess those two cars kind of set up as dragsters almost.
This Camaro coming through here looks like about
70.
70? Okay.
Yeah.
With a chrome bumper across the front.
There's a half bumper on the back.
Yeah. They only made that for
How about this one, Bill? A little coupe action for you?
I think another work in progress, but it's gorgeous.
Oh, wow, but look at this. Part of American tradition. Helped win a war or two. Good old Willis Jeep.
He's done a lot of work to get that one going and running. You know what I'm suspecting here?
What are you suspecting?
I am suspecting we may have some Shriners showing up shortly.
Well,
and oh my goodness, because Legion of Honor is now coming into view.
Yes.
The Yarib Shrine, Lanier, and other clubs getting together. This is a Shriner-sanctioned parade, which means they come from different areas. We have approximately 70 vehicles from the Shriners in the parade. Now, let me just say this. That's vehicles. That doesn't count the folks who are going to be walking. And we don't really count the bicycles and the mopeds, but they should be. That would put us close to 100 vehicles if we did that. But one thing is guaranteed, 100% fun and 100% service from our Shriners.
Absolutely. Taking care of kids.
Yes.
Regardless of ability to pay, regardless of anything else, they're just taking care of kids. And they have a great time raising funds and doing things.
This gentleman is dressed for fun.
Yes, there we go. Camera hog.
Yeah, well, with hair like that, I would be too. I'd be proud of it. You show that proudly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Here they are, guys that know how to drive.
Well, the Lanier Shrine Club's a big part of this. They ride so crippled children can walk.
And then giving the high fives all the way down the line. Time to do a little tire spinning here. Talk about your drift racing. They got to circle the big guys. Speaking of the big guys.
It's kind of an escort that gets a little unescorted, you know what you think?
You can't decide who's escorting whom.
There you go. Get the salute.
There you go.
How do you get those vests stay on?
I'm thinking super glue or two-sided tape, one of the two. I'm not really sure. You have to be a member of the Shrine.
Lanier Shrine Club coming through, and this is the president from 2000.
Man, that's an Eldorado, right?
It is. The other thing is,
all
Bill,
6 miles of it.
Yeah, and Cadillac just needs to continue to build those just for Shriners.
I agree, because there's certainly a market for it. If you don't believe me, just stay with us, because we've got many more of them to come. As we mentioned, about 70 entries here in our parade. The 9th annual Gainesville Memorial Day Parade, brought to you by the Pauley Boot at Bold, post number 7 of the American Legion, right here in Gainesville.
Wayne Whitmire in that Cadillac there is the Lanier Shrine Club.
Cadillacs come in all different sizes, but they seem to prefer the big ones.
In that era, that's for sure. What about a little station wagon, though, and a 55 Chevy wagon? That's probably, is that a Nomad or a Bel Air?
Oh, you got me there, but Dwight Whitmire is behind the wheel of it. We can ask him afterwards.
A Bel Air, there we go. I think Dwight owns, I'm not sure that was Dwight, but I believe he might own that one. That's a beautiful car.
I don't think these guys will be spinning tires. They're too knobby to spin. But they won't try.
Yeah.
You just watch them.
Why go on 3 when you can use 2?
Exactly. The difference between me and a Shriner. They don't turn over, I would.
And they just keep coming.
Jaguar coming off the left of your screen, but more of our guys on the little bitty Corvettes slipping and sliding, those gold cars rather. I imagine they have to change tires before the parade's over. So is the guy in front Bandit 1, the one in the back Bandit 2? I mean, how does this work?
They probably switch off.
I'm sure they do. I'm tired of chasing you. I'm going to pass you.
That's from the Cherokee Club, by the way. Well, they are drifting, that's for sure.
Don't worry, folks. They're not going to drift into the crowd. They know what they're doing. They do this all the time. I wonder if when you get back in your regular car and drive, if it's hard to drive normally after doing that.
They probably have chauffeurs.
But I would hope so.
How about that truck going through there?
That's Little Bigfoot. There you go. Pair of them coming along here.
Absolutely. Oh, the Granite Center Shrine Club.
Now, with a trailer. Okay.
All right, this is the first. I've never seen this. This is incredible.
Don't ride in the back of that one. These guys are tearing it up. Look at this.
I'm getting dizzy watching them.
And a Volkswagen that does push-ups.
Really?
Yes. Up and there you go.
Oh, you're right about that.
Somehow I think it got smashed together. It doesn't look as wide as a Volkswagen should be. Could be my camera shot here. I'm not sure.
No, I think you're right on that, Bill. He's getting a big thumbs up from the crowd over there. How about that?
If you can have too much fun, that's the man who's having it. That is fantastic. Putting those things together is no easy feat, I would imagine.
Oh, wow. Well, they had somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 vehicles in the parade this year, and they are the culmination of another great parade here on Memorial Day 2011 and the 9th Annual Memorial Day Parade, sponsored by Paulie Bolding, American Legion Post 7, and some other great sponsors as well.
Oh, yeah, we have to say big thanks to our friends at Rucksack Military Surplus, Dixie and her crowd. They do a great job. Longstreet Cafe, the Bunch family, appreciate that. As you mentioned, American Legion Post 7. TV18, thank you for the shots and for allowing us to be part of this as well. And, of course, AccessNorthGA.com, where on WDUN TV you can view the parade if you're not viewing it now. If you want to watch it again later, it will be available on demand. Brought to you in part by WDUN AM 550 and FM 2.9.
Well, it's been a great parade.